What's another piece of advice that people might hear that kind of makes you cringe?
Yeah, this one I don't hear quite as much, but it is something I cringe even maybe more so because I saw myself doing this and it ties into my story. And that's always put your spouse first. And
Yes.
especially in faith communities, you see this one a little bit bigger. And that
Hmm.
neglects that self care and those individual needs. Jennifer Finlayson Fife talks about this, but that one up, one down relationship where you think other people matter more or less. And that really resonated with me, but it took a long time for me to understand that concept. And what ended up happening and what happens with a lot of my clients, because I'm a therapist. I don't know if you mentioned that. I don't remember. But
Hmm.
I was just filled with resentment. And so many of my clients are too, when we are giving, and then we are empty, like that gas tank or that cup. Like, how can you effectively give to others when you are always putting other people first? And I know there's something beautiful about that when it comes to altruism, but personally, I didn't feel like it was coming from a healthy space. It came from a space of resentment, exhaustion, then bitterness. And I'm like, I am definitely not my best self when I'm putting my spouse first, unless it's something like it's a free will offering and you are very grounded and you're able to, again, going back to that differentiation, where you're able to maintain that sense of self, where you are doing it because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've noticed anything like that in your life, Dan, but I definitely have lots of examples, especially in early marriage, where something like that is shown.
And that's advice I hear at church too and other places. And I think it's all good intentioned. You
Yeah,
put others first.
absolutely.
This is the way Christ did it and things like that. Perhaps a more nuanced approach would be my understanding is we want to sacrifice for other people, but
Mhm.
what we're sacrificing is we're doing away with our lesser selves and putting our better, best, more wiser self into a relationship. Because it does a relationship no good if one is turning into a doormat or folding into the other person. It's no longer a relationship of two people yoked together, pulling forward. So I think putting your best into and investing in each other is always wise and good, but it can't come at the expense of something that's not sustainable for what's good for the whole relationship. So we need to take that into account.
Absolutely. And I think the key of what you said is not being a doormat. I thought that I was being assertive and communicating all my needs, but now looking back, that kind of makes me laugh. Like, we always think we're doing this great job of this is like a want or a need that I have, and I really do need this. And then you realize when you're getting feedback back that they're not catching any of that. They get used to you over time if you keep showing up a certain way of you doing something over, and then you do become this doormat. So a big part of that is communication too, for sure.
Do you have a specific story about that?
I think that one still goes back to that 10 years earlier in our marriage, where the very end of it, where I was like, no, I really need this. I need something for myself. But it built up so much and he didn't understand where I was at. I didn't even understand where I was at. We're just such a depleted mom needing something for myself and not really sure how to fill that need, that void, and trying to communicate that. And we both were looking at our families of origin, like how
Mhm.
he grew up, how I grew up, and thinking, this is what we saw modeled. We'll just do what we saw modeled, not realizing that was not working. And neither of us were very happy in that dynamic. And neither of us were very differentiated. We very much wanted the other person to change, didn't really understand why we couldn't connect and come together in that way. I don't even think really appreciated the way that we do now, our individuality in that, and wanted the other person to be more differentiated. It's almost like we were unknowingly seeking to connect in this codependent enmeshed relationship. I know I'm using a lot of jargon here. I'm trying to make it in layman's terms. We didn't realize that we were very needy, but in an unhealthy dynamic where it felt threatening and scary for us to go do something like a master's program or maybe develop a hobby that would take some time and take us outside of the house where the other one felt maybe alone.
That makes sense.
Yeah.